It was a stormy night in 1925 when Malcolm X was born in Omaha, Nebraska. Little did the world know that this child, born into a turbulent and racially divided America, would grow up to become one of the most influential and controversial figures in history. As a child, Malcolm faced unimaginable challenges. His father, a Baptist preacher, was murdered by white supremacists when Malcolm was just 6 years old. His mother, devastated by his death, struggled to raise her children, eventually being institutionalized. Malcolm's early life was marked by hardship, but it would ignite a fire that would burn throughout his life. What would shape him into the fierce leader who would soon rise to challenge the status quo? Malcolm's teenage years were filled with hardship, crime, and rebellion. After being sent to prison for a series of robberies, Malcolm experienced a profound transformation. While incarcerated, he began to read voraciously, educating himself about history, race, and religion. His encounter with the Nation of Islam, NOI, during his prison time would prove to be life-changing. The teachings of Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the NOI, resonated deeply with him. This marked the beginning of Malcolm's journey into a world of empowerment and resistance. But what was behind his sudden shift from a criminal life to one of profound political awareness? Upon his release from prison in 1952, Malcolm X adopted his new name and became one of the most vocal members of the Nation of Islam. With his sharp intellect and charismatic oratory skills, he quickly became the voice of the movement. He spoke of black pride, self-reliance, and the necessity of resisting the systemic oppression faced by African Americans. Malcolm's speeches, full of fiery rhetoric, called for African Americans to reject the passivity encouraged by other civil rights leaders. But as his influence grew, so did the danger that surrounded him. What would happen when his voice became too powerful for the establishment to ignore? Malcolm's rhetoric was radical, and it didn't sit well with everyone. The media and mainstream civil rights leaders often criticized his confrontational approach. He rejected Martin Luther King Jr.'s philosophy of nonviolence, arguing that African Americans had the right to defend themselves against violence. His calls for black empowerment and self-defense sparked both admiration and fear. As his influence grew, so did the hostility directed at him. He was labeled a dangerous extremist, and his life was constantly under threat. What would it take for Malcolm to survive in a world that viewed him as a threat? In 1964, Malcolm X made a pivotal decision that would alter the course of his life. He broke with the Nation of Islam. Disillusioned by its leader, Elijah Muhammad's personal scandals. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in his journey. Malcolm traveled to Mecca, and his experiences there fundamentally changed his views on race. He saw Muslims of all races and nationalities coming together in unity, which challenged his earlier beliefs. His pilgrimage to Mecca made him realize that true freedom and equality could only be achieved through global solidarity, not just black nationalism. Would this new perspective bring him closer to peace, or would it